Alright, hey, how's it going? My first video ever on YouTube. Uh, no flashy intro, no music, just trying to figure out how this stuff works, maybe I'll figure it out eventually, chances are I won't, I don't know. Play around with it, eventually I might Lucas this thing back up, make it all flashy and music and blah 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 and all that stuff, but until I actually figure out that, I know what I'm doing, or accept that I don't and continue regardless, then this is just what we're gonna do. But anyway, I guess the only thing I really wanted to say right now, as far as retro gaming, collecting, I'm not an expert. I really just started about 2 years ago. I picked up one of the clone systems and started getting some of the old games I used to play when I was a kid and all that. I had kind of a lull, of course, financial life got in the way and all that, but I'm starting to back up again, and I mean, granted, I mean, I'm not an expert, I'm not a Pat, I'm not, any of these people that are pretty much the go-to guys about this. I don't have a extremely big collection. I don't have, Action 52. I don't have Earthbound. I don't have, it's very, very small. It's still startup right now. But at the same time, I know there's a lot of people in my position. There's a lot of people that are just starting out, and I kind of figure that just saying this, being where I am right now, it sounds a little more relatable than the people that have a near complete NES collection, basically, because it is frustrating. It's very frustrating when you're starting out. There is a lot of people that, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love seeing unboxing videos. I love seeing pickup videos. I love seeing, people that bring in this massive score. But regardless if it's a Facebook group or YouTube channels, I mean, it's all awesome. I love it. But you know, there's a lot of people, and myself included, who get very frustrated at times because you see someone with the $4 Earthbound, or you see someone that picked up like seven consoles for like $20. They're all working, all complete, some boxed up, whatever. I mean, these really just insane deals that you don't really end up running across on a normal day, everyday basis. I mean, that should go without saying, yes, but there is that other side of retro gaming, which is the misses. I mean, obviously, you're not going to post a bunch of videos about you walking into a thrift store and seeing nothing. You're not going to post a bunch of videos about, hey, I went to a flea market today. Hey, I went to the game store. Hey, I went to yard sales and I got shit. You're not going to see that. But, you got to realize that does happen. And it can get real frustrating at times. The important thing is to, like I say, myself included, I get frustrated. There are times when I get frustrated really easily, because, I walk into a game store and I'm like, screw it. I just get Mario Kart, and then it turns out to be like $40 or something like that. Uh, not really what I want to pay for that. But, at the same time, I kind of start thinking, someone in my position who is still, on that very intro part of collecting, is something that, it might be easy to digest, because I just started to kind of have a little what do you call it? Kind of self affirmations, just a couple, not really tips, because like I say, I'm not an expert, but things that might make it a little easier to digest, like I say, first of all, just realize you are not going to walk into a thrift store. You're not going to walk into these places and just found a box full of $2 Earthbounds. You're not going to find Action 52 sitting on a shelf. That's just not going to happen. I mean, there are people that does happen to, but if you wake up on like some random weekend and you're like, all right, I'm going to go to the thrift store. There's going to be Earthbound. I'm going to buy it, for $4. Chances are that's not going to happen. Just kind of realize that. Just kind of go into it realizing that the people that do have these really cheap, rare games, it's like a once in a lifetime sort of thing. I mean, true. You'll see stuff on like Game Chasers and other shows and all that of these people that just happen to run across these awesome deals. But what you don't see is all the misses. You don't see all the times where they're just walking around and there's nothing. There's nothing but the white label of death, which is kind of what I started referring to as for sports games, because white label of death, white label of disappointment, just whatever. I see a white label, I just don't like it. It's just not really cool because, I mean, really, I don't care how many Maddens you have. I don't care how many NHLs you have. Chances are you're going to find a box full of them instead of finding these real rare games. So basically what I kind of figure is kind of set realistic goals. Like right now, the whole thing is like, my last week, I kind of my goal was, I guess it's easier to come up with these goals when you're just starting out like I am. Like Super Mario Kart was kind of my goal for the week. Common game, you can find it pretty much anywhere. If you find it for a deal, awesome. But at the same time, you set that realistic goal, and then you can sit there and realize, what, regardless, I'm not going to walk out of this empty-handed. You know that you're going to have the game you came for. You may have to go to a couple stores, you may be paying a little more than you'd like to, but if the entire goal of it is just to come home with something, there it is. You can come home with Super Mario Kart because it's a common game, it's still awesome, and it's realistic. I mean, if you just go in looking for the rare games all the time, it's just not going to happen. Once in a while, your ship will come in, and you'll find something that should not be there, but bam, you got it. Hasn't happened to me yet, but the part of it is trying. Just going out there. Be optimistic, but be realistic at the same time. Like I say, just go in there, set realistic goals. And the other thing is remember, this is not like, this is not something that you collect to, I mean, you can display them, but it's not just display. It's not like, cards or, anything that, that just really has no other use. These are games, I mean, primarily, yeah, I can talk, right? Primarily, you should be trying to buy games that you want to play. I mean, of course, you're going to run across lots. I've got a couple lots from eBay that all I wanted was Contra. It's going for a good price, and there's Contra in there, and I'm paying like $25. I got like 6, 7 other games. Of course, they all end up being like football or some just kind of crappy games. So I mean, chances are I'm not going to play them. Honestly, I'm not going to play Stealth probably, but of course, you're going to run across stuff where it's just, getting these games that you may not like all that well, but, the main thing is trying to get games that you want to play, because remember, these games are not being made anymore. Earthbound is not being made anymore. Action 52 is not being made anymore. Eventually the well will run dry. Eventually the people that have them are the collectors or the ones that know what they have. They may not be collectors, but they realize that they have something that is worth a lot of money, and they'll keep it just because of that. The well will run dry eventually, So, I mean, while I'd love to sit there and be able to show you my collection and show you all these rare games that are in it, if I'm lucky, by the time I'm done collecting, by the time I'm too old and dumb and, too many other things have taken over my life, I may be lucky to have one of those games, because realistically, I mean, obviously, maybe this time next year I'm doing a video and I have, 6 or 7 of these rare games, who knows, but realistically, it's just not going to happen. You don't want to prepare yourself for it to happen. You don't want that to be the end game, Bottom line, this is about playing games that you grew up with. Like for me, a lot of my games I have right now are things that I either had when I was little or games that I loved but never owned when I was little. I mean, I was one of the only people I knew that did not actually own Super Mario 3. I knew so many people that did have it. I rented it so many times. Eventually, I didn't really see a point to buying it. But all these years later, I just had to, it was getting back into it and just kind of correcting that wrong, from back in the day. And the whole thing of it is just remember, this is a hobby. This is not the end game of I want to have the biggest, most expensive collection. I don't want the end game is not I don't want these priceless, these $1,000 games sitting on my shelf. Those are the added bonus. Those are the things that you can put in addition to. But bottom line, remember, retro gaming, in my opinion, should be about the games themselves. Having a big collection is awesome. Having every expensive rare game ever made is awesome. Having tons of box games is awesome. But just realistically, it's not going to happen for everybody, and you can't let that kill your enjoyment of it. The hunt is part of the thrill, and sometimes, like I say, that means you're going to come back empty-handed sometimes. And if you're getting real frustrated, like I say, set those easy goals. Say, I'm going to come back with Donkey Kong Country. I'm going to come back with, even Legend of Zelda. I'm going to come back with something, that is very easy to find, and if you run across a deal, if you come back with something just amazing, awesome, but you got to remember, you don't want to frustrate yourself out of the hobby. You don't want to frustrate yourself to the point where you see people with pickup videos that got just tons of stuff. You don't want to watch all these videos of people that have just all these rare games and just these huge, insane deals, and think that's the way it's supposed to be. Why isn't it happening for me? Because realistically, it happens once in a while for them. It may be on video more often, but it only happens once in a while. And of course, bigger your internet presence, the bigger things are, the more contacts you're going to make, and it might become a little more regular for this to happen for you. But remember, not everyone's an internet celebrity. Not everyone is, is getting 4 billion views per video. Chances are I'll probably, I don't know, 100 views by next year. Probably 90 of them will be me. I don't know. That's not really what this is about. This is just about, like I say, on the ground level of retro gaming collecting. It's about the games. It's about recovering some nostalgia. It's about, the games you loved, the games you wanted to love. There's the rare games. They're out there. They're expensive. They're awesome to find. But remember, there's nothing wrong with having a collection of Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong. There's nothing wrong with that. No one's going to walk into your house and say, all these games are common. You're a shitty collector. No one's going to say that. They're going to say, well, if they're hardcore collectors, they might say that. But if the general person, they'll be more overjoyed that you have Super Mario Kart than if you have Little Samson, because no one knows who the hell Little Samson is, besides the collecting community, So, I guess that's the main point I wanted to make. Like I say, I don't have a big collection. I'll probably get to one pretty soon. It'll last about 2 minutes, but it's starting. It's a fun hobby. It's fun to do. Just remember, be realistic. Set realistic goals. Just don't get frustrated, guys. It's awesome. All right, just stick with it, and catch you around.